In this part of the lesson, we're going to look at how to use the end property to select an entire list of data. I'll start by opening up the file that I've already downloaded and extracted, and when you open this file you'll find another version of the worksheet which contains the divisional tables from the 2017-2018 NFL season. The idea behind this lesson is that we're going to copy each of the individual tables into the appropriate worksheets. So these are all blank at the moment. We're going to copy each of these tables into the appropriate place. We'll start with a really quick simple example which selects a region of cells by cell reference. So we're going to select cell A5 to D9 and copy that region into the AFC East sheet. So let's head into the Visual Basic Editor first and insert a new module as normal. And then we'll create a new subroutine called Copy AFC East. The first instruction I'd like to write will simply select the worksheet which contains all of the divisional tables. So the name of that sheet is called NFL 2017, and again you can make out the name of the sheet in the Project Explorer in the top left hand corner here. I want to select that sheet to make sure that we're in the correct starting position. Next, I'd like to refer to the cells containing the AFC East table. So I know that that is range A5 to D9, so I can enter that set of cell references in a set of double quotes separated with a colon character. And that will refer to all of the cells from A5 to D9. I want to apply the copy method to those cells, and the destination for the copied cells will be cell A1 on the appropriate worksheet, which is called AFC East. So I can set the destination parameter to worksheets AFC East and range A1 on that sheet. If I simply run this subroutine at this point, I'll see, if I switch back into Excel, that the AFC East sheet now contains a copy of the AFC East data. Next, I'd like to write a new subroutine which does the exact same task but for the NFC East. So currently that worksheet is empty, and what I'd like to do is write a subroutine which copies cells F5 to I9 into that sheet. So let's switch back to the Visual Basic Editor. The general structure of the subroutine will be virtually identical, so let's save a bit of time by copying and pasting the subroutine. Then we can simply change its name. We can't have two subroutines with the same name in the same module, so I'll change this one so it's called Copy NFC East. We know that the destination is going to be on the NFC East worksheet, so let's just alter that section of code there as well. So we'll go to the NFC East and range A1. And then I'd like a slightly different technique to reference the range of cells. So what we've done here previously is put the entire set of cell references in a single set of double quotes separated with a colon character. In this case, what I'm going to do is refer to my first cell reference, which is F5, and then I'm going to close the double quotes and type in a comma. When the tooltip reappears, hopefully you can see that there are two parameters for the range property. Cell 1, which we've already specified, cell F5, and then cell 2, which is optional. You can see that it's in square brackets, but I'm going to provide it here by entering another set of double quotes and refer to cell I9. Overall, this technique does exactly the same thing as the previous technique. So A5 to D9, that references all of the cells between the two cell references. Likewise, cell F5 to I9, this also references all of the cells between that one and this one. So were I to run this subroutine again, switch back into Excel, I should find that if I switch into the NFC East sheet, I've got the NFC East table sitting there. For the next example, we'll copy the relevant table of data into the AFC North worksheet. So currently that worksheet is empty. From the NFL 2017 sheet, this time what we're going to do is assume that we know the top left-hand corner of this table. So we'll assume that we know that cell A12 is the top left-hand corner, but we'll also then assume that we don't know how many rows or columns that table contains. So what we'll do this time is use the end property to find the bottom row and then the right-hand column. So we'll find the bottom right hand corner of the table. Let's switch back into the Visual Basic Editor, and once again we don't need to begin in a completely new subroutine as the general structure is the same. Let's copy and paste the original subroutine and then alter its name so that it's called Copy AFC North. We can then change the destination worksheet, so I'm going to change this so it's AFC North as well. And then also what we'll do is modify the way that we reference the range of cells that we're copying. So as I said earlier, we know that we want to reference cell A12 as the top left-hand corner. So that's the cell 1 parameter of the range property. If I then type in a comma, I need to now to specify cell 2. So what I'm going to do to make that work is reference range A12 again, which looks a little bit odd admittedly at this point, but that means that I can then apply the end property to that range reference. So I can say range A12.end, and I'll first of all specify the XL down direction, and then close a set of parentheses for that end. Then I can apply an extra end property, so I can say .end, and this time use the XL to right constant. Close one more set of parentheses. So this range property here uses the cell 1 parameter is cell A12, and the cell 2 parameter is the cell that's at the end of the list in a downwards and right direction from cell A12. In short, that refers to this table of cells, A12 down to D16. So if I switch back to the Visual Basic Editor and then run this subroutine, I'll find when I switch back into Excel and look at the AFC North sheet that that's the table of data that's been copied. For the final example in this session, what we'll do is copy the NFC North table into the appropriate sheet. So once again, the worksheet is empty to begin with. And what we'd like to do is refer to the NFC North table in the quickest way possible, assuming that we don't know how many rows and columns it contains, but that we at least know one single cell reference within the table. So I'm going to assume that we know that cell F12 is the top left-hand corner of that table. And then you may well know this keyboard shortcut already from Excel. If I pressed Ctrl and A on the keyboard, that selects what's referred to as the current region. So it's all the rows and columns up to the next completely blank row and column which surrounds the table. So to make that work in VBA terms, let's head back to the Visual Basic Editor. Let's just copy the previous subroutine this time. So I'm going to copy and then paste that subroutine. We'll alter its name again, so it's going to be copy NFC North this time, and we'll change the destination worksheet to NFC North as well. This time we can take away much of the code we've already written to use the end property in the previous example. I'm going to take this all the way back to first of all just refer to cell F12. What I can then do, having closed the parentheses after that cell reference, I can look for the current region property. So the current region property, as described, is the same as pressing Ctrl and A to refer to the entire table in which this cell sits. So I say current region.copy to this destination. I can run this subroutine, and switching back into Excel, I'll find on the NFC North sheet, that's the table of data that I have. At this stage, you can either move down to the extra practice session on this page to get a bit more experience with referring to tables of data. Alternatively, you can move on to the next part of this lesson, which talks about how to use the offset property to move around in a worksheet.